Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show, where we get to have conversations with diverse people who are impacting lives positively. Yes, this is your Mama Kemi Akiode Adebayo, and in today's program, I've got a courageous, dynamic, visionary young entrepreneur, Mr. Uzo Bailey Ayogu. Is the co-founder and the CTO of Relief, which is based in Nigeria, although they work across the eastern part of Nigeria. How are you, Uzo?
I'm doing very well. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, I know I've been planning on this one, and I'm glad we're meeting, today. So tell us first, what does Uzoma mean?
It means good road, very literally.
Okay.
But the way I like to think about it is good decision, good pathway. Yes, my dad said it was a good idea, good path, good decision to marry my mom.
Right. So where would you say you're from? Because I know you were born in
Jos.
Mm-hmm. And
grew up in
South Africa, and you have parents who are.
My mom is American. That is Nigerian from Enugu.
Okay, so tell me, who will you say Uzo is, or where is Uzo from?
Well, I usually say, I was born in Nigeria, grew up in South Africa, mix of both African American and Nigerian influences, and educated both in South Africa and the U.S. So, I like to say I appreciate my Nigerian American heritage, but at the core, I'm an African, and I think that's what matters most.
Okay, so let's go back to growing up, with you being born in the northern part of Nigeria. Do you remember anything about that?
I left when I was 5, so
okay, so you don't recollect anything.
It was pretty clean, peaceful.
Right.
We had a dog and a big mango tree.
Okay.
Those are the main memories.
The main memories. And Cape Town, South Africa, you grew up there, and in Johannesburg. So share with us some, things, that you picked up while growing up.
So I think what was nice is we had a lot of people from different cultures, different religions, also very active childhood, which was really good. Encouraged teamwork, played a lot of soccer, which was nice. I think it gave me a lot of appreciation for all the different types of people in the world, but also one thing in South Africa that you see, it also gives you a view of all the different problems, The inequality is quite clear, and so if you're lucky enough to get a good education and aware of all the challenges around you, it can help give you that spark of, you're blessed to be a blessing and do something else.
Right. So growing up, I know you were very active with a lot of things while in schools. From football to
swimming, Johannesburg Junior Council.
Was that your decision or your parents' decision?
Actually, I don't think they pushed any activities on me, but they encouraged me to be excellent and be the best. So, once I begin something, be quite competitive and want to do it well. And then they enabled me, right? They took me around to the practices and a public speaking event in another place. They made sure I was able to get there. So I think they created an enabling environment and then encouraged me to have a high standard. I think that was the blessing I was given.
And I know as well that you volunteered, you went away. Share that experience with us at one point. Because I'm sure that's probably why you've ended where you've ended.
Yes.
That first initial experience.
Yeah, I think it was maybe when I was 10 or 11. Okay. We'd gone back to the village in Enugu, and I remember seeing my dad's brother's, one of his children, using the bathroom outside. So, not in like a bathroom, just outside, anyhow in the sand. I remember asking, that's just, that's just Uncle Paul's kids. So why would they be using the bathroom outside? And this difference was they weren't able to get the opportunities. Your dad wasn't able to see the world. But it struck me that, this is like just my dad's brother. So that child could have been me very easily. So I think that gave me the realization that it shouldn't be so random or happenstance that somebody has opportunity to kind of actualize themselves and have access to the most fundamental things that human beings need to thrive. So I think that planted a seed, and then my mom was quite active in even her work, working in nonprofits. So I saw her serve a lot of people, and then different friends she had. Of course, you know, you being one of them, Mama K, was always very active in the community, and so a lot of those experiences kind of gave me the initial insight and push to see, okay, whatever you're learning, you're not just learning it for yourself, but see how it can be useful in a practical way for people in the world.
Okay. Then at one point you lived in Dubai or the United Arab Emirates.
I had already left for university then.
Oh yes, that's right. Okay, tell us how you left university, and then let's see. And you were in leadership roles,
Sure.
a lot of leadership roles.
So in university, I was involved in. I did intramural soccer again, same thread, very active. I was on the executive board of the National Society of Black Engineers. I worked with Duke Engineers for International Development. So
Which university did you go to?
I went to Duke University, so I got a full scholarship to go to Duke. I studied mechanical engineering there. Initially with the aerospace concentration. And when I had written my college essay to go to Duke, I wrote about wanting to study engineering to do something back home.
Right.
Yeah, in Nigeria or South Africa. But honestly, I thought it would be like 20 years before I came back. And my dream was, to work for NASA, GE, SpaceX, because I was doing aerospace at the time. And I did end up working at GE actually, GE Aviation. I was on the high pressure turbine team. But that time at GE, I'd already started working on a very different iteration of relief. And I saw how much time I was spending on relief while working at GE. So I said I should follow my energy. Even though I'm here, I thought I would want to be here. My excitement is actually on my side hustle.
Okay. At that time, it was a side hustle.
Yeah, I mean, I was still in school.
Okay, so let's go now to relief. How or why was it started, and when?
So I met my co-founders in 2016.
This was in school?
This is in school. I was a junior. And this program called MLT, Management Leadership for Tomorrow. Okay. So it's for Black, Native American, Hispanic students who are interested in careers in technology, consulting, finance, consumer good companies, and students from I think 200 different universities to come together for a summit. So I met him. We did a case workshop together. I thought it was very sharp, also Nigerian. And at the time, he was working on, with his cousins, a nonprofit where they were trying to connect students in the African diaspora to projects on the ground in Africa. So I think one of the first projects was a peanut factory. Another one was a water management system in Uganda. The peanut factory was in Nigeria. And so provide advice, technical support. So that's how I met them. We started working together on that idea. We found that the nonprofit model wasn't going to really scale. The students were unreliable, even though they were excited. And then they didn't have enough context to give good advice, because a lot of them had never been in the environments of the companies they were consulting. But it gave us kind of a passion for, we actually really like this work, working on the ground, on the continent, so how can we get back ASAP? And we saw from a lot of our research that agriculture is actually the biggest way you can affect large-scale change, and we've seen the same in Europe, America, most recently in East Asia. So we said, what can we do to move forward the green revolution in Africa? And that was kind of when we did the research. If you look at Nigeria specifically in the 60s, Nigeria was a global leader in agriculture. Correct. The green, white, green, green is even strong agriculture. And so relief, the name was, how do you go back? And then leaf agriculture. So how do you re-energize, the agriculture sector to where it's, enviable globally, and it's providing a lot of jobs and pride for people. So, there was the groundnut pyramids, cocoa at the time. Naira was even comparable to the dollar. It's very different now. But,
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. So it was a side also, you said, at that time
initially,
in
yes,
the
when I was in
university.
school.
So when did you make the decision to actually, take it as a proper full-time,
Sure.
career or job? And I know you turned down Microsoft, as well at that time. So, you were very courageous, I believe, and deciding to go back to Nigeria. How did that happen?
Yes, I think what made it a lot easier was my co-founders we were all aligned on doing the same thing. And so the strategy at first was, work super hard, get the job, get the offers. And then a lot of these companies are reasonably flexible, so you can ask them to defer your offer. Say, give us a year, let us, that's like the safety net initially. Go and try out this idea and see how it works. And I would say, my dad wasn't as supportive as my mom usually just supports me. So,
because he probably was worried for you.
Yeah, of course. Because he's seen how tough Nigeria is, a difficult place to work in and operate in. So I felt it would be fine. So I wrote a letter to Microsoft. They were gracious. They said, sure, you have time, come back in a year. Kenna did the same thing in Bain. Isaiah did the same thing with Facebook. And
so you all had jobs.
Yeah, I all had.
That were kind of, yes.
Yeah. And so we deferred it as a collective. And I like to say I didn't feel that the risk was that high. I like to tell people the risk is in not taking the risk, actually.
Right.
Because, we're younger. Fortunately, because we all got school paid for, scholarships. We didn't have any debt kind of to really pay off. Fortunate enough to not have to take care of any family members. So the burden to make money immediately wasn't as high. And if you go and do something very difficult and off the beaten path, and the companies wanted you when you had no experience, that experience you gain is actually more valuable when you go back into either the job market or the school market.
Yeah.
And so the risk is actually not as high as people think, because you become far more competitive than anyone else. So even if the thing that you're doing is more risky, goes to zero, doesn't go well, if you then go back to the established institutions which are not going anywhere, you have a more interesting story to tell, a more compelling story, and you can actually get hired again or go to school again. So when you think about it in that lens, that when you actually have confidence that, you're very capable as a person, you have your education, nobody can take that from you. You're going to go get that experience, that you're not like, of course it's hard to get those offers in those companies, but then you're like, I got it. I'm actually a valuable, member. I can contribute in any place. That can give you the confidence to go and kind of pursue your own thing.
Interesting. You know what? We'll be right back. Wow. Okay. Born in Jos, northern part of Nigeria, left there at the age of 5, went to Cape Town, did your primary and secondary school in Joburg, then went back to university in America, Duke University, and relief in Nigeria. Then you went back to Nigeria. So which year did you actually move to Nigeria? And how has the journey been for you in Nigeria?
Absolutely. So I finished university in May of 2017.
Okay.
We got into an accelerator program called Y Combinator, the world's best startup accelerator. And that gave us our initial seed capital. But we had already pushed off our jobs before we got into Y Combinator. So it was like our leap of faith had been rewarded with that, with that action.
Right.
Because I'm actually not sure how we would have moved back. We didn't have that money.
Yeah.
So we moved back September 2017 after that program. And that was actually very difficult, because when we were in that program, as first-time founders, they really give you the fundamentals of building a business. Which is really talk to customers, act on their feedback, and go talk to customers again and act on their feedback. And that's as simple as that, even though it can be quite complex. But the point of your business is to serve your customers, and so they really hone in on that. And so we met the rude awakening that our initial business model we didn't have enough exposure to our customers. We were in America.
Yes.
We were trying to build it in Nigeria.
And Nigerian market.
Yeah, it's very
totally
different. Totally. So we had done one trip to Nigeria during that program, but what we learned is that our initial business model was not
going to work.
So we had to take the money we had left from those 3 months in San Francisco, initially moved back to Opebi and Ikeja in Lagos, and we actually had a lot of people writing some negative things about us. There's a big Facebook group called Silicon Africa, and a lot of people, there was an article about our business, and a lot of people said, are they even Nigerian? What do they think they're doing? Just because they're fancy
the
degrees.
Usual
But,
bad belly, as we call it in Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so, there was that chatter. We ourselves weren't very confident about our business model.
Right.
And then someone wrote this article that said, companies that will die next year, and they put relief on the list. So there was a lot of negative energy. But we said, let's just focus on our customers, our business. Let's block out the noise. The best way to react is with results, not with going back and forth. So we spent about 6 months traveling all around Nigeria. So we would jump into the bus at Ojota. We would take it to Ebonyi State, Abia State, Benue
so almost
State.
all the
20 states in Nigeria. So basically all the southern states. We did go to Kaduna, and we did that to understand when you're going from farm to factory to table, what are the frictions that exist in the value chain. So we did it for 8 different crops over that 6-month period. Just talk to people, talk to farmers, talk to middlemen, talk to truck drivers, talk to factories, talk to consumers, and understand, build our own model and framework for, okay, this is the way agriculture works in Nigeria, and here are the challenges. So it was a pretty difficult first few years. I'd say months and years, and taking the learnings and trying to build a business. So we would live with the cousins or the uncles of my co-founders, all of us in one room, mattresses on the floor, and then we're on the road a lot, so lots of ups and downs. But thank God we all were safe, throughout that process. So,
Interesting. So for you, what are you mostly proud of at this stage? I know it's still, kind of work in progress, for you, but for somebody who left the comfort of a first world country to say, you know what, I'm going back, and the naysayers were there as well to drown with all the negatives, but you didn't give up. And what would you say are your success? What's your success story?
I think now we have over 100 employees. We've raised $4 million plus.
Wow.
If you analyze it, we're doing over $1 million in revenue. I have real confidence now. I can beat my chest and say I have a business model I really believe is fundamental.
Which you had to create.
For
the market.
All the years where food production is decentralized, right? It's driven by small farmers, but we don't have a food processing supply chain that supports that decentralized nature of production.
Okay.
So Relief's goal is to make what we call cloud factories, or factories in a box, move them closer to the farmer, optimize the technology to process any quality crop the farmers produce, and turn it into very high grade input for these big FMCGs that can then process and meet the big consumer demand. And so we have a patent pending, and we can confidently say any palm nut farmers produce, we can process it. And so we really want to accelerate that agricultural-based industrial revolution in Nigeria, because we fundamentally believe that it is the most powerful way to move a significant number of people out of poverty by job creation, by dropping the cost of food because your supply chain is more efficient. Nigerians spend over 50% of all their disposable income on food. And so if you want to give people more money to invest in education, healthcare, even just recreation, you need to make food system more efficient. And so by both us being able to scale and essentially deploy these factories all over West Africa, we'll be creating a lot of jobs. and at the same time.
Have you moved into other parts of West Africa?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, but that's
part of on the roadmap.
Okay,
certainly.
all right.
So we're setting up our second factory now. First one is in Aquabum. The second one will be in Crawford, but the third one will likely be in the middle part of the country.
Okay.
So using that funding to essentially scale our model. And like I said, we have 100 people who are on our payroll, jobs being created. A lot of our manufacturing team members, initially when they start working with us, they're not literate, but slowly we give people access to different type of training to make them literate and digitally literate. So how to input things on Google Sheets, etc. So I think I'm very proud of being able to stick with it. And there's many more ups and downs. I think I owe a lot of that to just being very fortunate to find co-founders that we really be able to trust each other and
the
push
same
each other,
page.
Have the same values through the difficult times, and have the same belief that no matter what we encounter, we're going to get through. Amazing investors who also believed in us when there was nothing really there. And then we've been able to hire really good people who've been able to take our vision and our mandate and like it's their own and kind of drive it forward. Because it's very difficult to find good people. So
awesome. Well done. So what motivates Uzo? What keeps you going? What is your why?
Yeah, I think if you just look at how Africans and really black people have been treated through the last few centuries, it's terrible. And we see a lot of individual successes, people doing much better in these last couple decades. But I really feel like, in this century, we're gonna see like African Renaissance, where it's no longer, us going to other people, asking for respect. Or you see what the global community did South Africa with this Omicron variant, where it will just be evident because you see the innovation that's coming out of Africa. There's no more just destitute poverty. People are living in a dignified way. We're exporting not just culture, which is a great export now, but different products, and not just raw products, but processed products. And so I feel like my why is Africa first in this century, where we really have a renaissance, and we can really be proud and say what we've built and our people are in a place of dignity. So I really feel like I've been given that's my why being put on this earth, and with the gifts that God has given me to kind of play a role in that progression as we get towards 2100 over the next 80 years. So I do believe the next few decades are very critical as we reach kind of population takes off, but infrastructure is not there yet. So either be a gift or a curse. So we're hoping to make it a gift.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll be right back. What a journey for you with relief in Nigeria and your plans, to even go across West Africa.
Absolutely.
So if I may ask you, because I know most of our audience, they're always keen about, lessons. What life lessons can you share with us for anyone who might want to not necessarily follow the same path, maybe thinking of being an entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur, or just, I don't know, what life lessons, what has made you, even though you're still how old are you again? You're still very young, 26, and you're already an employer of over 100 people. So what are some of the tips that you will give somebody else as well, that you've learned and that could help that person? I know we could spend the whole day. No, this is not when you give them encouragement. This one now is to give me the tips that you feel that could help a young person.
Yeah, I'll
just
try and
life lessons. In
the most practical sense.
Okay.
I think what's very important is to learn how to shrink problems.
Okay.
Because typically you'll see something, it's a big problem, it's very large, and you start, I have to make a master plan and do all these things, and then it becomes overwhelming and you don't start. Instead, within your local, whatever you see around, you see how you can do something small, meaningful, and measurable, and prove to people that you're someone who can solve problems and make an impact. Because once people have confidence that you're able to make progress and do something at a small scale, you're able to attract more resources and people to help you do more things. So you have to figure out, how do you build a track record, whether it's in your professional life, academic life, extracurricular life, of I know how to get things done, I know how to solve problems, because that will enable you to attract other people to join you, and other people to support you in many different ways. Because when you reach out to people, say, oh, you need to have a mentor, you need to have this, you can really increase your chances of success when you say, oh, I did all these things on my own. And someone's like, oh wow, you actually went and did something, I want to continue to help you. So I think that in itself has been very powerful, because that's what allows you to kind of reach out to people. And I think also young people underestimate, youth is a superpower. If someone who is 35 reaches out for help versus someone who is 16, or under 20 or 25, just because you're young, someone is way more willing to take a call with you, see how they can support you, and then they see you're young and you've done XYZ, oh, how can I support? And then it doesn't have to be, you started some crazy business, but maybe you saw that the bakery near you only has, doesn't reach enough customers, and you say, oh, I'm going to go on Canva, canva.com, you look up some videos how to make flyers, go to the bakery owner and say, hey, I made these flyers, what's your sales today? Oh, it's 10 rows of bread, and tomorrow it becomes 30. You tell someone, or I 3x their whatever, their sales because I saw a problem. That's evidence that you are
creating the solution.
You can do something. So I think that one has been big. And then the other one is nothing gets done without people. So learning how to be and discern the character of other people is very, very important. So the people you want to do anything with, and understanding their motivations and being open to asking them questions to understand what drives them is very important. And then getting started. I think as I think about relief now, I'm just so glad we started early because we had so many lessons to learn. And there's an incredible compounding that happens if you're able to get started and stay focused on the same thing for a long period of time. I think now it's easy to get distracted and work on a lot of other different things, but we call it North Star and Next Step. So what's the big picture? But instead of worrying about step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just worry about step 1. And the next step. As long as you're getting closer to your North Star.
That's interesting.
Progress,
Interesting. Right, my final kind of question now is, do you have any particular issue that, social issues or anything out there that you're passionate about, and that you can tell us what you feel could be solutions to them? So because I know in Africa, unemployment is rife, poverty, there's a lot of issues, that you're already solving one of the problems anyway through relief. But is there anything you're passionate, about, that not talk about the problem, but like you said earlier on, solutions that you can say, these are the solutions for it?
Yeah, I think something I've seen is more of a matter problem, but it's mindset. Having a growth mindset, so believing that you are not fixed with whatever capabilities or capacities you have, and that you have the ability to learn and solve problems and make a difference. And some of the solutions I've seen, there's a very cool company called Scholar X, and the founder Bola created this thing called Lenam.
Okay.
And it's it's in Pidgin, it's in Hausa, it's in Igbo, it's Yoruba, and it's a platform where it's teaching you very specific tips and tools on, let's say you're a plumber, and typically the only way you get work is people will refer you, but you learn how to just make an Instagram account, and then so it teaches people very practical things. And once someone says, "Wow, I can acquire some knowledge and apply it and improve my life," it creates a flywheel that people can continue doing it, because we have too much consumption mindset, especially in Nigeria. And so if you can change your mindset into a production mindset, it will make such a big difference, because at the end of the day, what makes countries wealthy is it's knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge is the driver. So I think mindset is something I'm very passionate about. The reason I didn't say education is it doesn't have to be in the traditional sense of education. And then I think policy too, in the long term, is very important. And solutions around policy and leadership, etc. I think it has to do with how do you take people that have a different view of the world, who don't have maybe the incentives that some of our leaders have today, and get those people with capital, both financial and social, to be able to chart a new path for the respective countries or communities they're in. And so I think I'm very passionate about, there's a lot of programs to do leadership development, etc. But how do you get those people in those positions? And then how do you build enough people at one time to actually make a large difference? Because, policy, and there's been a lot of policy failures across the years. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. It has been a pleasure and an honor to share this, time with you. And there's a lot, obviously you've said there. But in closing now, I want you to speak to our young people, out there, just to give them tips or anything, word of encouragement, I would say more than anything. So in closing, I need you to speak to anybody. You might not want to speak to young people. It might be men, it might be, I don't know, anyone you want to speak to.
Thank you, Mama K, first for the opportunity. We only stand on the shoulders of giants, and you being able to share people's stories is very inspirational. I would say to young people thinking about how they can make a difference, how they can feel valued, be thoughtful about the content you're consuming, because if you think about your thoughts become your actions. Your actions become your habits, and your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. And so being thoughtful about what is influencing my thoughts, what am I reading on social media or in school or wherever, what am I watching, who am I speaking to, and so just being very intentional about the media and content you allow into your thoughts can literally change your character and your destiny. And so I would encourage you, as you think about what kind of person do I want to be, not just what do I want to do, what am I allowing and receiving into my mind, and how is that getting me closer to who I want to be or what I want to do, and it can really have a profound impact. And so I watch a lot of motivational videos on YouTube. Personally, I read the Bible every day, so the faith is a big driver. But whatever it is, be very thoughtful about how you can influence what's coming into your mind and your heart, and the impact that can have. So thank you.
Wow, that is deep. Be thoughtful about the content of what you're taking. And I like what you said about the North Star and next step.
Yes.
I like that one. That one stood up for me. And there's a lot of nuggets, in there that I believe, our audience will be able to pick on from. And I just want to say all the very best for you and your co-founders and your team at Relief with what you're doing. You make us proud, and you keep making us proud. And I can't wait maybe to even come to Nigeria, to your factory, to see actually, what you're doing, because you are the greater tomorrow. And at 26, going back to motherland and where some of us are running away from, well done and kudos to you. And thank you to all those who are supporting your dream and your work as well.
Yeah.
So we can only but wish you well
Thank you
for the
so
future.
much.
And we will follow up with you soon to see all the other factories that, Why are you saying West Africa? You're not coming to South Africa.
No, so, okay.
Or Southern Africa.
Yeah, oil palm for West Africa, but when we expand it into different crops across Africa.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go. I need to make sure.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. This is Mama K signing off. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have this chat with this amazing, visionary, courageous young man who, with his team, they're doing so much with their organization called Relief. We'll be sharing the detail at the end. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed. Remember, God is love.